To help emphasize what the successful integration of possibilistic reasoning accomplished, I'll now cover the emergent behaviors that appeared in the possibilistic demo and how they differ from the simple behaviors present in the base demo. Since the core of the different HTN domains was more or less the same to cover the basic responsibilities, the most glaring difference between the two demos was that students seemed much more active in their free time in the base demo than in the possibilistic demo. The student NPCs operating based on the possibilistic domain were much more balanced in their choices for how they spent their free time, with a significant amount often choosing to stay home rather than go out and spend money on an activity. Comparably, the overall traffic and behaviors expressed by the student NPCs operating on the possibilistic HTN domain were more expressive and realistic. In the possibilistic demo, there is an average amount of foot traffic at each of the activities, while the rest of the student NPCs remain home due to their preference consideration. The possibilistic student NPCs represent a more realistic simulation of foot traffic on an average night in a college town, since every student is able to consider both personal preferences for how often they go out and how much they want to stay in on a specific night, rather than just be immediately compelled to spend money as soon as they have it. Besides the obvious differences in behavior trends between the two demos, there is one distinct emergent behavior I want to bring to attention. Student NPCs would often head home after work because the business traffic at the activities were mostly higher than average around those times in the demo. If the student's preference for the activity wasn't enough to outweigh the traffic, then chances were that their home preference would lead them to head home, often staying there for the night. But sometimes there would be a few students who would then leave their homes around 8 to 9 p.m. to go do their preferred activity. During initial demo testing, I originally thought that the domain or my code was dysfunctional, but I later realized that this buggy behavior was in fact completely reasonable on behalf of the student NPC's perspective. Their home preference would just outweigh their preferences for other activities, especially during points of moderate to high customer traffic. So, after work or class, as soon as they were free, they'd just go home. However, as the night would go on and the customer traffic would die down, the student would reevaluate the possibility of spending their time at home, and then they would decide that going to a less busy activity would be better than staying home. This is the perfect example of the possibilistic reasoning being used to create emergent and expressive behaviors, since this behavior is only caused by the comparison being performed by the possibilistic cost functions in the utility selector.